Being successful in business, it really takes integrity and the ability to handle challenges, and it's hard to do that if your health isn't in the best shape. In real estate, there's so much mental use there. We're having to help our clients or deal and work through difficult situations. The market has drastically shifted. Our market is very strong. It has been for the last 12, 14 years. Nashville has been on a trajectory of growth. They're struggling to sell homes now. The buyer pool has just fallen away. Agents are having to shift and pivot. We have an increase in inventory, but at the same time, it's also offering and opening up opportunity. And this is where educating the consumer. The interest rates just jumped massively. Inflation skyrocketed. The Feds waited too long to start hiking the Fed rate to tackle inflation. How to get more, because the sellers had equity, but buyers right now, it is truly a sweet spot, but the market and the media are not pushing that right now. Right now is where generational wealth building opportunities exist.
All right, welcome to the Top Real Estate Influencers podcast with your host, Mario Hurley, and myself, Alex Montalenti. Today, we have the privilege of being with Debra Beagle. Debra Beagle is the #1 RE/MAX team in the world. And we're excited to have you here. I just saw you speaking at the Follow Up Boss Conference on an amazing stage, an amazing venue at the Chelsea Theater in Las Vegas. You lit up that stage. You were one of the first speakers. And I just loved hearing the story of how the company evolved and where it all started. We're really going to dive deep into what made your team successful, what made you successful, how you contribute to everybody, and get into the power of coaching and teamwork, accountability, integrity, personal health, you name it. I'm excited to have you here. Thanks for being with us.
Well, thank you for having me. I look forward to talking with you guys today and sharing a story.
Awesome. So rather than talk, so welcome aboard, Debra. We're gonna make this a very fun hour for all of us, especially the folks that are gonna be watching and listening to this. So welcome to everyone all over in real estate, those folks who want to take it to the next level. So before we even talk about the actual business of real estate and what's going on there for you, why don't we talk about the juicy part? Like you just shared with us before we started, this whole shift you had in terms of how you take care of yourself. So tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, being successful in business, it really takes integrity and the ability to handle challenges. And it's hard to do that if your health isn't in the best shape. I'm a hard worker. I mean, I teach a class on grit and passion, perseverance. I'll outwork anybody. And I really got into working a lot of hours. And I kind of let my health go, my weight. I really wasn't focused on taking care of myself. I was taking care of everybody else, the business, and truly, it's hard for me to shift focus because I'm so intent on the business. And I, about 5 years ago, I said, I've got to do something about my health. I'm a stress eater, like a lot of people out there probably can relate. And I just had made the decision I had enough with where my health was. And I didn't really so much say that I wanted to lose weight. I wanted to get strong. I wanted to be as physically strong as I was internally and mentally strong. And I just don't think I'll ever stop working. So the health had to be a part of it. I gave up gluten. I committed to walking at the time. I was extremely overweight. And I just started just being consistent. Everything that I apply to my business life, about working with our clients and with our agents, it's about consistency and touches, and it's the long haul. So I just made decisions and I have stuck to it, and I found ways to stay consistent. My schedule being that it was hard for me to go to a gym, or I thought it was hard to do that. So I found alternatives. I have a trainer that shows up in my driveway 2 days a week, sometimes 3, and I have no choice. I go out there, I do what she tells me to do. And I actually look forward to it as a business leader, and in real estate, there's so much mental use there. we're having to help our clients or deal and work through difficult situations, or, and when I go out there to work out, I don't have to make any decisions or think about anything. And so I mentally got myself into that space that I just go out there and let her tell me and to do whatever I need to do. And, I've lost a lot of weight. I've managed to keep it off. And again, it's important because you got to have the body to help you do everything else. And if you don't, that's one of the things. So that's my story of being consistent. And it's every day having to get out there, to do a little bit at it, just to keep it front and center. So
I'm curious because there's a lot of people that want to make a change. And like you said, at some point you had it, right? And at some point I had it too. For me, it was a conversation I had with this gentleman, Mario. He actually had a conversation with me where I really saw it, and I felt the cost it had on my life. Like, to the point that I was in tears thinking of my kids and like my future and all of it. And in that moment, I just said, that's it. And then it was like, boom, 50 pounds gone.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'll never forget Mario for that conversation. Was it for you? Was it a conversation you had with somebody? Was it like, what was that point?
Well,
where it was just like,
I think it really came to the, John Sheplack is one of my coaches. I coach for him, and he's a coach and an inspiration to me. And, you have to have the energy and the strength, to be able to function and work at a high level. And, I really just wanted to be strong. I focused more on strength. I wanted to be strong. I wanted, and that encompassed the weight, the physical strength to be the best that I can be in business as well, and for others. Our company Brokerage Now, I'm the CEO. I manage the operations. We're 180 agents and 44 employees now. So their livelihood, everything depends on the leadership of the company, which is myself and Gary. So I just wanted to be strong to be able to handle everything. And, as the markets change, and we had COVID in there, and goodness, that was hard. But I was fortunate. I had ordered a rower literally like 2 weeks before COVID hit. And I was so glad I did that, because I rode all through COVID with the TV on, but I rode. I did whatever I could during that time. But so again, it was more seeing John Sheplack. I mean, he's very focused on health and strength. And that helps relay over into the business world. And that inspired me. So, and I wanted to be an inspiration to others, that no matter, how old you are, or what age you are, and then it's baby steps, it's being consistent. Which is everything that I preach about our business, that I just really relayed that over into my health. So
I'm very big into health myself, Deborah. I would love to know, what differences have you noticed now with your new body, your new lifestyle?
Well, and it was the little things, carrying my luggage. I remember carrying luggage up and down stairs, and lifting the luggage and putting it in an overhead compartment in an airplane. I travel a lot. I speak at a lot of conferences, and that was one of the biggest things was, I got small in a seat. So you could sit anywhere. It didn't matter. I was, so I know that's kind of funny, but that was, again, I traveled a lot, and that was uncomfortable. Traveling on Southwest or Coach or some of the airlines when you're overweight is definitely uncomfortable. So, but those were big ones there. It was the little things, and just going up and down the stairs, and again, it was a lot of little things for me.
Well, one big little thing is, the first thing when I saw you on our video conversation, I said, you look better than your videos I saw of you online. It was like, boom, that's another little thing that's huge. People probably notice that.
Yeah. Well, when you lose weight, again, that's part of it. You look healthier, you look better. So yeah.
Yeah. I
Thank you.
bet you, I bet you we're
Appreciate
gonna
that.
get, absolutely. I bet you we're gonna get between 15 to 45% of folks who are listening to us, they're gonna
Yeah.
get into a regimen just listening to this because it's that important and that inspiring.
And it is, and it's more, again, it is the consistencies. There's a days that, you're stressed, you're tired, and you don't have the energy to go work out or do it. And it's just even doing a little bit, but it's just doing it consistently and every day, adding it into your schedule some way. So, which is no different than working our leads, contacting our clients, and our whole business is about continuous touches and communication. So, and I just dedicated that into my personal health.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I noticed recently, going along with consistency and discipline, is like I used to struggle with my health and my weight, and I'd go on a vacation and I'd come back from the vacation and it was like, oh boy, like I have to reset and I have to start all over again. But when you have discipline and consistency, you can go on vacation and it's like you don't have to reset. Like I just went on a vacation, I hopped back on the scale. I'm like, oh, the same weight I had when I left, right? Because I'm disciplined about what I eat while I'm on vacation now. When
Yeah.
before it was like, ooh, reward and like go crazy.
And
And
go
same thing
crazy
in
on
your
vacation,
business,
and
like
then you'd have to lose weight. No, I'm pretty consistent. I don't, I gave up gluten, again, 5 years ago. And it was more, I mean, breads and pastas and that kind of stuff is a trigger for me too. It just, for some reason, causes me to eat more. So I've made alternatives there. I stay away from dairy. A lot of dairy I eat. I do almond milk. It's little changes like that and I stay consistent with that when I travel. I think my hardest thing is getting in my water. I think drinking a lot of water. And then when I travel, I'm all over and not drinking enough water, but water is a big one. If you drink a lot of water, that helps. So
There you go. This is good. We should have another episode one day, bring in some kind of a health expert, maybe like our
health
friend,
expert. Yeah.
right?
But it's important. And it really is. But
well, the thing is it carries over to everything else.
mhm.
Right. That's why,
It
it's
does.
like the discipline in my health, the discipline in my business. As long as I'm disciplined and consistent with my business, I'm not going to have those like crazy roller coaster, drought months. And then like, oh, I did amazing that month. And then I had a drought month and I did amazing that month. It's like, it's a steady line.
Yeah. And a lot of people, especially, real estate is a second career for a lot of people. And, I think I wanted to show too that no matter what age you are, you can make a change and you can be successful at it. I wondered if I was too old to lose the weight and get my health back and become strong. And I proved it to myself as well as to others that saw the transformation of, how you can, and just by being consistent and making a commitment to it, you can make a change and be successful at it. So, which again is what, our company, we give opportunity to agents that come in and they've had other careers, and it is how much effort you want to put into it. And we do provide that opportunity for people.
I love this. And we can keep talking about health. I think this is like a big subject, but I do want to redirect a little bit our focus
Okay.
into, my first impression I got when I heard about you, Deborah, was that this is somebody you gotta talk to her. She's amazing. Look what she's done. And one of an old episode that I saw, there somebody was talking about you, and I still hadn't met you, didn't know what you look like, and they were saying how you're so organized, so systematic, how you really harness a lot of information and make it very succinct, and you get a lot of stuff done. And I don't know, I want to call this like this. That's like a way of winning. Like you just get the job done and you win. And you keep winning and you keep winning. I don't know. Do you feel that like that? Like you have a winner mentality, or
Well, it's very intentional. And I talk to a lot of people when they, and about joining our company. It's our core values. I mean, one of our strengths is, solution oriented and following processes and systems. And you know, taking action, especially in our business and the way the market is shifting right now. And there's a lot of stress and a lot of worry. And to combat that and to continually be growing, you have to be in action state. You have to be able to find solutions and utilize the resources around you. So, you know, getting worried about the way something is, or the market, or, you know, how am I going to get leads? I mean, take action, you know, go out there, seek business, or, you know, start going through your database, making your calls. And, you know, I'm very action focused. I manage my stress and my anxiety and my worry that way as well. You know, I get up every morning and I have my day, everything that has to be done in that day. And I just start working through it from the time I get up until I go to bed. So I'm very intentional, and I'm looking and always evaluating the business and myself personally of how I'm doing things. I have a coach myself. I coach others. Our company and our team, I encourage our agents to become mentors and to give back. I think by helping other people and giving to other people and helping them, you know, you're learning and growing as well. And then, you know, they will start doing and listening or acting on that coaching or advice as well. And you're seeing their successes and what's working for them. So, you know, as far as getting it done, I'm very system, data, process driven, but I mean, it's just action. You've got to take action. Action really helps solve a lot of problems. And then also opening yourself up to feedback on the action, because sometimes just action alone isn't going to move the needle. And that's where, you know, again, processes and systems, there's a level of accountability there and feedback to improve those. So they go hand in hand with the solution oriented and taking action. So you have to have initiative for action, and then you have to be coachable and take feedback with the processes and systems. So those two go kind of hand to hand.
You mentioned that people are very stressed out. There's a lot that's stressing them out. And at the same time, you're saying action will kind of like cut right through it and get you through it. What are some of the things you're seeing the agents are stressed out about?
Well, the market has drastically shifted. You know, our market is very strong. It has been for the last, 12, 14 years. Nashville has been on a trajectory of growth, and we did not have enough inventory up through June of this year. The demand was massive. We have 20 offers on a home, and now we're seeing, they're struggling to sell homes now. The buyer pool has just fallen away. Agents are having to shift and pivot. We have an increase in inventory, but at the same time, it's also offering and opening up opportunity. And this is where educating the consumer. The interest rates just jumped massively. Inflation skyrocketed. The Feds waited too long to start hiking the Fed rate to tackle inflation, which caused and here I go into the economics in the market, but there's a lot of things that happened, and that happened very quickly. So our agents literally, we were teaching classes on how to maneuver multiple offers up through August, to flipped it in September to buyer strategies, how to get more, because the sellers had equity, buyers right now, it is truly a sweet spot, but the market and the media are not pushing that right now. Right now is where generational wealth building opportunities exist. There is a lot of government money out there for FHA buyers, piggybacking in Tennessee with like a THDA. And this is where a person making $113,000 can still qualify for the down payment. It's not, I mean, it's meant for under $450,000 home buyers. And those houses are available now. So you can go in, you can get your closing costs paid for, you can get home warranty covered, you can, and get your down payment. You could get into a house for 100% down now in a lot of our areas, and educating the consumer on that. I think agents are having to shift and work harder and educate themselves as well as their clients. That creates stress. You know, our fourth quarter this year is down about 46% over last year. That's a huge drop. That is, and we're doing better in our market than a lot of other agents and brokerages. So agents that are typically used to having a couple closings a month don't have any closings on there right now, and stress about financial. But again, the opportunity is there. There are clients buying and selling. I mean, we still have 130 some closings for next month. So it's educating the consumer. Not everybody is worried about interest rates. They're more worried, what kind of monthly payment? $2,000, $2,500 a month. You know, what can I get for that? And right now you can get quite a bit, and go from renting to purchasing something. But as far as realtors, agents right now, their stress right now is, you know, providing for their families, making it through. We're heading into the winter months. January and February are usually always the slowest. These last 3 months, October, November, and December, have been like a winter market for us. Relatively over the last 14 years. I mean, what we're experiencing right now is a typical winter early. So will January, February be worse because winter is usually worse? Or will this consumer and the consumers right now, there were so many people always have to buy and sell. So are they going to go ahead and will we see a pickup in January and February? Which, as a business owner, regardless if you're a single agent, small team, or an owner of a bigger brokerage, you know, how do you maneuver through that? And that's what everybody's working through right now.
What's interesting, we just had the president of the National Association of Realtors on our podcast. That was our last guest, Leslie. And she's talking about education and how important it is for agents to leverage education. And what I just picked up with you is that there's always buyers and sellers. Where is the opportunity for who, and what is the opportunity that you want to educate yourself on? Because as long as you're educated on what the opportunity is, you have a real conversation to be having with somebody.
Absolutely. And this is where we are in such a sweet spot right now. If you have a W-2 job and a paycheck, or you are looking at growing your wealth and maybe doing some investing, you know, picking up a rental property. The Nashville market, the first 3 quarters of this year, property values have appreciated at 17%. Inflation is running right around 8, you know, 8.5. So where are you going to get a better return on your money? And even if the economy dips a little bit next year, and we have seen a little bit of a slowness in property value increases because they were going up so fast, so rapidly. Even regressing, you're making more on that investment than inflation. So, and where I go with this is because myself personally, we started buying some rental properties over the last 4 or 5 years, and that is going to be our retirement. My husband and I have made the commitment of paying off those mortgages. So the rental checks that are going to be coming in every month are going to be what we're going to retire on. And, you know, we've been picking up rental properties over the last couple of years. Right now is the opportune time because those property values are going to continue to increase. Rents are increasing. So if you have the opportunity to buy something, even at the interest rate, you can negotiate and get your rate down into the low 5% area right now. What you can get, you can still capture the rent to cover the mortgage. The values are going to continue to go up. So you're building generational wealth, providing for your family if you can, or you're a first-time home buyer. Why be throwing that money into rent? You know, what is your monthly rent? Is it $2,000? Is it $1,700? What is it? Can we get you into a condo? Can we get you into something right now where you're going to build your own wealth and be control of your money versus paying it out in rent? So, and again, it's in times of shift and change where opportunity exists, and everybody thinks, oh, what if the rates come down later? Well, then you can refi. But what if they don't? What if they continue to go up? You've still locked it in and you own a property. And then you could go buy something else and make the one that you were in a rental. So, and as agents, if agents are listening to this is something that we do with our agents. We talk about, building your own personal wealth and retirement out of your own industry. Utilizing it, because who knows what the stock market's going to do. 401ks have dropped, but you've got a paid off rental property. That's a check you're going to get every month. So
this is really, really great. Alex, I'm almost inspired to say we should have like a monthly chat with Debra and educate all these homeowners, investors, all these people. This information is not that easily found.
No, the media is doom and gloom, and it's like, the rates were creeping up into this. They were in the 7%, then they dropped down into the 6s about 2 weeks ago. And this is where the consumer isn't hearing this right now. The media is still, oh, it's bad, inflation, but the rates dropped to 6.25. You can buy 2 points and get the seller to pay it and lower your interest rate down into the low 5s. So, and you're getting concessions. You're not having to overbid and compete for a property. So in the end, it's about the same as it was, 7 months ago, but the rates are different. But the consumer doesn't see that. They think it's, inflation. And now some people are worried about their jobs right now. But if you feel you have a secure job and you've got a W-2 and you've got, now is the time to look at that potential rental property, because you might be able, in Nashville, you could pick up $180,000, $210,000 condo that you could rent out, to cover the mortgage. So, and cash flow a little bit. And as that property increases or rents increase and you pay that off, that's going to be potential. Again, that's how you build generational wealth. And I think that's
let's face it, everybody in real estate who's, done really well, it's because they were able to identify the opportunity in any market.
Mm-hmm.
Not like just the opportunity when it's a good market. That's easy. Everybody sees the opportunity when it's a good market. It's like when it's a changing market, where's the gold? Like there is gold somewhere.
And there is gold. And that's where, we and Gary and I we talk about this all the time. And, because one of the first things too, as an agent or a team leader or owner, they start doing is they start cutting their marketing and advertising. But that's where your opportunities come from too. And you get leads that way. But a lot of people aren't following up on their leads. And we cut back strategically, but we still have our advertising presence to where we're generating opportunity. Now, where we're focusing right now, this is with all of our agents. Now is when you work even harder and do that follow-up and make those touches. Just check on people, check on past clients, start going through and calling everybody and educating them on the market, that it is not doom and gloom as the media is saying. And that's where the clients and the opportunity come from right now. So, you've got to be smart about the business. You have to look at expenses. You have to look, and when it slows down is the time to evaluate even more and make sure the right people are working on the right things. If you have a bigger company and, what can we do better? We don't just sit back and, oh, there's no business right now. We're out there looking for it and trying to get it. So.
One of the things I heard that was different than when we speak to a lot of different brokerages and brokers is you said you have 180 plus agents, but then you slipped it in there. You have 44 employees.
Right.
Like that's a major support system. That's a company in itself. Right? It's like we always hear about the agents. Oh, I have 1,500 agents. Oh, I have 50 agents. Oh, I have 100 agents. But we don't hear what is the actual structure of support for those 180 agents, and what that's got to be a huge reason why you're number one REMAX team in the world. Is like you're looking at it from a business standpoint as like, how do we put a team in place that's really going to support all of that?
Yeah. And the team is the critical part. And that's, and building, 7 years ago, it was just myself and Gary. And we had our one administrative person who is now VP of Ops. So we have grown from that one, and we had 50, I think at that point, we started the brokerage, we had 53 agents. And then it was just, Ginger and I and running the admin side. And then we strategically added people, and the key places that we added, Gary has this huge, lead generation. This is where we're on the billboards, the radio, advertising, the internet, our SEO, or websites, 20 something, but years old, sorry. And so we're generating a lot of leads. And what's the holy grail is conversion. How do you get those leads into the agent's hands, and then make sure that the agents are doing their touches and follow up, so they're having business, so we're all winning together. And so we started adding inside sales agent. We added one. Now we have 9 in there. They're the front lines. They work 7 days a week. We have coverage from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. And those are where we're speed to talking to potential clients, and then we're handing them over to the agents. We're working through. We use Follow Up Boss. I spoke at Follow Up Boss, the conference where I saw you, Alex, and I'm sorry, Mario, I didn't get to see you, but that contact management system has been just so integral to our agent success and our success to help coach them. And that's where, we're not just handing over a lead to them and hoping they go do something. We're handing over the lead, and then we're offering the support to get them the lead and vetting the lead. And then we're also there looking and helping them on, and the meeting that I had right before I started this, we were working with our mentors that work with our newer agents. And we've set it up now where they have access to help the agents looking at their phone calls, their texts, how they're working the system, and utilizing our mentors' experience, not just out in the field writing deals and closing deals, but also how they're doing their nurture and their follow-up, because it's about consistency, and it's helped increase our conversion rate. And then the support level, we brought things in-house. We have a media and marketing team in-house. We used to hire outside for photographers and videographers. We brought it in-house. Our agents can use it for personal business a la carte. We cover the company business. We have in-house contract to close. I have 7 full staff contract to close that help with the agents with their contracts from start till the closing. Each agent is assigned a contract to close person. These are layers in there to leverage the agent's time out in the field and help them administratively. So, and that's where we started with 1 of each, and then we just kept adding. And we have our accounting department. We have an HR now as well. And, but we started small and just kept getting bigger and bigger, and offering the support to the agents to be able to convert more. Excellent.
So let me go ahead and gear a little bit back into the personal. You do have an impressive system. And I wanted to check with you, what are your influencers, who inspires you, what are the things that drive you and say, let's go get it another day today?
Well, I think I was, from a young age, I tell this story because my mother has been a huge inspiration in my life. She came from Cuba in 1963 as a 16-year-old. And my aunt as well. My aunt was 2 years older. During that revolution, they took everything from my family. And my mom and my aunt and several family members came over there with nothing. Cuban Americans, mid-60s. And we're very family centric, but my mom and my aunt worked like crazy. They were entrepreneurs. My uncle too he helped found the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in the early 70s. And I didn't really realize it until I was older, but my mom and my aunt were business owners. And my aunt was the VP of the company with my uncle in the 70s. and you guys are young, but back in the 70s, I mean, there weren't a lot of women in CEO positions and top
Right.
business positions. But the interesting thing too, like my aunt ran the family. Like, we go to family dish, she was cooking, she was cleaning, she was doing everything, and she was running the business.
Wow.
So I didn't know, and I don't think I knew any different growing up. I mean, we had a big, strong work ethic and culture, and with a lot of love and compassion for people. I think my mother has the biggest heart for helping people, and so those were the biggest influences early. And then as I, you know, my degree is actually in chemistry, which is a really kind of strange
Yes.
thing. And I came out of college and I got into environmental chemistry, and I worked in the commercial space in due
Yep.
diligence for commercial transactions. So I had a lot of key women along my trajectory that I saw that inspired me, that were strong women in business and in who they were. And when I got into residential real estate, I had a woman broker owner who just, I mean, really, really impacted me a lot. She was like, there is nothing you can't do. You're going to be great in this business. And she was doing it. I still tell her to this day, because she's her voice, I hear her voice in my head a lot,
Yeah.
as I've grown as a business owner. And, you know, that it could be done. I think one other cool thing, because you mentioned Leslie with the president of the National Association of Realtors. In 2017, I sat in the audience at R4, and I'm a CRS. I'm part of the Residential Real Estate Council. I'm also a Latina, and I'm a Hispanic. I was top Hispanic realtor, and then I'm very active in our local board and our state association. And I sat in the audience of R4, and up on the stage was Lee Brown, and she was the president of the CRS, the Residential Real Estate Council. And Elizabeth Mendenhall was, and these are all RE/MAX women broker owners. Elizabeth Mendenhall was the president of the National Association of Realtors. And then the third one was Daisy Lopez Sid. She was the president out of Orlando. She was the national president of the National Association of Realtors. Up there on that stage were three badass, just top performing, sorry for that language, but I mean, they were inspiring. I sat there and I was like, they're running three of the top real estate organizations. They're realtors, they're broker owners, they're women, and I was like, okay, what makes them so successful? What is the commonality? What do they do? What is it that and I know them all personally. And I looked and I said, they give back. They're inspiring. They're committed to investing in our business. They believe in this profession as a profession. And I was like, I want to be that. I'm going to be that. I sat there in 2017 and I said, and where I focused, because I love giving back, and education is so important. I received my CRS designation, Certified Residential Specialist designation, early on. I think the soonest I could get it, I got it. 60 transactions, continuing education hours. I received that designation. And then I'm very passionate about RPAC, which is the Realtor Political Action Committee of investing in our industry. And Lee Brown was she was the chairwoman for RPAC at the time and president of the CRS, the RRC. And that's the path that I wanted to go. And this past May, I was elected to the National Board of Directors for the Residential Real Estate Council. So but seeing it, I think this is where seeing women and believing that you can be that or do that is so important. And I've really instilled that into my agents to be that voice as well, to newer agents coming into the business, to be committed to the industry and serving in some capacity. And again, I've had, Beth O'Brien was my first managing broker. Judy Lador is a top speaker in the residential real estate world and recruiter. She was a coach of mine early on and has been a longtime friend now as well. Bobby Noreen here in Nashville, Tennessee. I hate saying how old because she's in her stuff, but she you know, and I talked to her numerous times a month. She ran and was managing broker owner for a huge real estate company here in Nashville, and was served on the state committees and the forms committees. And there's a lot of that's inspired me to be better and be like them because I got to see them.
Debra, before we go, this is huge for me. All right. I have goosebumps and my palms are sweating because that's so exciting that you're saying that. I think it's all part of this whole shift going on in our country and the planet, where people are starting to like own what they're capable of doing. And they're coming from a place of contribution rather than just like taking over everything and neglecting the small people. So it's beautiful. Yeah. Like you're so committed to that. So I want to ask you, because you multiple times you mentioned education is such a big part, but you know that many agents, they come in and it seems like a fairly simple thing to do, right? Just talk to people, negotiate a little bit, boom, you can make yourself a deal. Nothing could be farther from the truth. What would you say any agent that really wants to take their business to the next level, I'm talking 10 times, 50 times, whatever it takes, something close to what you have achieved or even beyond, what do you think they need to have always? What is their food? How should they prepare themselves and empower themselves to be as successful as they can be?
Well, it starts with, I mean, I look at an individual agent. You have to have introspection and look at your strengths, and find where you're, what are the things that you're good at and you love to do, and then what are the things that you're not so good at, and leverage your time. Start building you have to have the resources around you to take your business to the next level. And there are things that you in where you focus your time. What are you really good at? What are your strengths? And then get people around you to help you with those other areas that you're not so good at, so you can leverage your time to the highest level. And then also, this is one thing that I think as you start growing a business, you're going to hit a capacity. A single agent, and that's what happened to me. I could only do 60 some transactions by myself. You have to have an admin, and how you start adding and growing that business. And then I've been very strategic in my growth with the people that I surround myself with. I look for diversity, and I respect what people bring to the table, because if you surround yourself with everybody that's like you, again, that feedback when you're growing and you're in action and going forward, you need the feedback to help take you to the next level. Because what you're doing, if you tweak it a little bit, and this is where coaching comes in, and sometimes having somebody who's very similar to you doesn't see things that if you made slight adjustments in a slightly different way, it will push you even further, which is what Gary and I, my business partner for 12 years now, we are complete opposites. I always call us kind of yin and yang. But when you bring the two together successfully, we see things from different perspectives. Up here, we see things the same. We want to get here, but we look at things like this, and we can tweak each other to make us better together. So I think as a single agent or growing your business, it's growing strategically, identifying your strengths, and then bringing in support and resources to your weaknesses. And sometimes too, also recognizing that, what you love to do, you might not be the greatest at, or, and letting go of some of the things that someone else can do to help you, and really focusing where you're good. So that would be my words of wisdom.
Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, one thing I want to add that you mentioned is, like, you had somebody who said you can accomplish anything, right? Like, and you can still hear it in your head, that voice, right? Like Mario is that guy for me. Like, he came in and he's like, you can accomplish anything. It's just a matter of integrity. Let's look at it. How can we do it? You're a visionary. You're a leader. He always stood for that for me. And that made a big difference for me, because
Mhm.
really there's nobody else in my life that does that. Right.
Yep.
Like people do, but not like to the level of like that. And then what it creates is that belief in yourself that you can do it. And then when you see it being done by others, it's like, oh, if they can do it, then I
Yep.
can do it. It's like that combination just creates, like, that belief in yourself that,
Mhm.
yes, like Mario said, people are coming to terms with their greatness. Like, yes, I am great. I am amazing. I can accomplish anything. Other people have done it. And even if they haven't done it, I can still do it. But it's nice to
Yep.
know that somebody's done it at that level, and I'll beat that.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's funny, when I was little, and I'm very close with my father, and I said, when I think I was 6 years old, what do you want to be? And I said I wanted to be the first woman president of the United States. Literally, I did say that. It was kind of crazy. Now I'm too smart to ever want that job. But anyway, and I really thought that for the longest time. And I remember in fourth grade, I had a teacher, and at fourth grade, I'm going to be the first woman president. And she told me, she's like, oh, that'll never happen in our lifetime. There'll never be a woman president. And I thought, well, that's not like the best thing to say. And then I kept just thinking that I wanted to do that. And now I want to be the president of the Residential Real Estate Council. So I will be a president of something. And I did see someone who did become a president. So, but it is funny how, certain people, telling you can, which my parents always said you could be anything you wanted to be. And then having somebody else tell you, well, that's not going to happen. But then seeing it, you can believe it. So, yeah.
And do you still speak Spanish?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. ¿Hablas español?
Yo hablo español muy bien. Yo
Ah,
trabajaba
mí
de
también.
intérprete.
Sí, yo hablo español. Uh-huh.
That's great. Deborah,
Uh-huh.
thank you so much for joining us on this
Thank
wonderful
you.
conversation. You brought great inspiration. I'm still so excited. My palms are sweating. You brought so much goodness, inspiration, and like intelligent action for our agents. And this is a thing we preach all the time. Thank you for
Yep.
confirming. I hope to have you again in the near future.
I love it. Just let me know. Love Real Grader too. So thank you. And our agents are using it too, and we love it. So I will just say that.
Glad to hear it.